going on, everyone? Togevoir here, and today we are beginning the NPL for the 5th season. I guess the 4th season of my time here. But we're going to be bringing you guys week 1 this glory-filled Sunday. As you guys can probably tell, there's a lot of background noise, and I'm not that loud. But I'm currently on a road trip in a Starbucks, trying to record this, so we'll see how this goes, and hopefully it's not too bothersome. But anyways, our week 1 matchup, we're facing off against Cheeseboy628 in the Phoenix Sunkern. We've played them both my first season in the NPL and the last season that we just finished. And in Season 4, the last season, we lost bad. It was our worst loss of the season, so and he's obviously a very skilled battler because he beat me, and that's pretty difficult to do. So yeah, and he also has a very threatening team. But just a couple housekeeping things. If I don't cover this in an earlier video, the NPL this season switched to a points style format. So instead of open drafting like we have in the past, where you can pick anything that you want, I'm actually gonna move this just a little bit closer. You have points, as you can see right here. We're on Cheese's team. This is not my team. And he has point values next to all of his Pokemon. So we had a total of 125 points, and each Pokemon was worth a certain amount of points to draft. And you had to draft somewhere between 8 and 11 Pokemon. I don't think any team actually had less than 10 Pokemon. Like my team has 10, for example. But you can see, oh yeah, and in case you're wondering, Latios isn't 24 points, but we have a system of franchising where you can franchise a Pokemon you had last season, except you pay 1.25 times its normal price, but it basically takes up your last spot in the draft, so you get your franchise and a first round pick, but it costs you a few extra points, and that's why Latios is on there for 24 points, instead of, I believe, 18, which is its actual price. But anyways, so this is his team, as you can see right here. Tyranitar, Kyurem Black, Talonflame, Sableye, Dugtrio, Klefki, Musharna, Mega Blastoise, Lapras, Phanpy, and Latios. So just looking at his team initially, his team is, a very, very powerful few core central Mons, but then after that, it really isn't that threatening. And like, for example, Lapras and Phanpy are two things, and really Musharna either. They're three things that I'm just not going to prep for. Lapras and Phanpy just aren't good in general, and Musharna just doesn't have the matchup for me to really consider to being a threat. And if he does bring it, that's fine. I'm bringing a team that can handle it. But later. Just a second, I gotta pause. I'll be right back. Yeah, so like I was saying, he has a few central Mons that are really threatening. Those being Tyranitar, Kyurem Black, Talonflame, Latios, and Mega Blastoise. Now, there is some cool things that he does have going on his team. I really like the synergy between Kyurem Black, Talonflame, and Mega Blastoise. He's able to keep the rocks off the field easily for those two big threats, with contestedly the best spinner in the game with Mega Blastoise, which is something I was actually considering drafting myself, but I didn't end up. And in case I don't actually have a draft analysis up video before this, I will kind of be doing some general analysis of my team beforehand, which I will go into when I go to look at my team. But yeah, so that's his team, and we'll go hop over to my general team, and then we'll look at the team I brought in specific. Okay, so you can see my team here. Garchomp, which is the Pokemon I franchised. We have Mega Pidgeot. By the way, this is not in draft order at all, but just getting that out there. Garchomp, Mega Pidgeot, Breloom, Snorlax, Togekiss, Rotom Heat, Jirachi, Blastoise, Hydreigon, Frogadier. Now, when I was drafting, I did contemplate getting Mega Blastoise instead of normal Blastoise. And yeah. Oh, something else I probably didn't cover at all, but we changed our team name. We are now the Arizona Carvanhas instead of the Portland Timbers. I really just wanted a change of pace, and my good friend Dallas Boy in 1992 made me a fantastic logo, so that's cool. But anyways, this is our team. Not quite with the power level of our team last season, but because of the point restrictions, it's a lot harder to get a team as powerful as we did last season. Last season, we had a very, very, very good team. And I really like this one too in particular. You may notice I have the Jirachi Togekiss Flinch Core, and just a lot of really good bulk, but then I do have that kind of top end speed with Mega Pidgeot. And then I have Garchomp as my next fastest thing, and Hydreigon. I don't really have and Jirachi, so I don't really have a lot of slow Pokemon, like Rotom Heat and Togekiss. They're not exactly slow either, even though they are bulkier Pokemon, which I really like. I really like being able to, in any given matchup, pretty much outspeed every single one of my opponent's walls. And Snorlax is really the only one who's not going to be able to do that, which makes me really happy. I picked Frogadier because we only had 4 points left, and Spikes are a cool thing, so we'll see if that ends up being a thing. But, yeah, hopefully I did get a draft analysis up, and so that was kind of pointless. But, if I didn't, there you go. That's the team I have. It's just, I really picked a lot of things. I felt like the only Pokemon I think you could say I maybe shouldn't have drafted, I picked Hydreigon, and I'm not really sold on it. It's a second dragon. I just really wanted a dark type, and I like Hydreigon a lot, and I wanted to be able to use it better. I used it pretty well in the March Madness tournament that was had a couple months ago. But I really wanted to do better with it, so I drafted it, and it is a good Pokemon, so I'm sure it'll do some cool things this season, but it may just end up in the future getting dropped for free agency, because it doesn't have the best matchups versus most of my opponents, but we'll see. We'll get that when it comes, and yeah, let's hop over to the team that I built for Cheeseboy628. Okay, so here we are with the team. As you can see, first off, we have Katrina, the Mega Pidgeot, with max speed, Hurricane, Hidden Power Fighting, U-Turn, Heat Wave, max special attack. Now my reasoning for this is this outspeeds his entire team except for Talonflame, which is really good, and pretty much it KOs his entire team also. Mega Cheetar is hit very hard with that Hidden Power Fighting. I am either expecting a Scarf variant or a Chopo Berry variant, or maybe even an Assault Vest variant, so we do have to watch out for that, as then it'll take less damage for the Hidden Power Fighting, or outspeed us and kill us, which could be bad, but everything else on this team is 2-hit KO'd by this Mega Pidgeot, and so it'll be a very powerful threat towards this team. Heat Wave hits the Clef Key, in case that's a thing. U-Turn for general momentum. Hurricane is my main stab to confuse things and hit things like Mega Blastoise and Talonflame, Kyurem Black, etc., etc. And I'm running max speed because he has a Dugtrio, so I could have, dropped a couple EVs and thrown him in HP, but they really wouldn't have made any difference in any of the calcs that I was looking at. And just in case he expected me to do that and wanted to like scarf something, it wasn't likely at all. But just in case, I did want to run max speed on Mega Pidgeot. So, the next Pokemon we're bringing is Turquoise, the Jirachi, with the Occaberry, Grassmount, U-Turn, Iron Head, Ancient Power. Now, without a doubt, the biggest threat to my team is his Talonflame, so I wanted to be able to lure something with it that he wouldn't expect. And a bulkier Talonflame, which is what I expected the most, and is what people were bringing against me in my mock battles, was doing a lot of work to my team. And bulkier Talonflame is something that could switch into a Jirachi, especially after just seeing Iron Head and maybe Grassmount. So I really wanted to run this this Jirachi set. I'm running nose. So yes, so that's why I'm running the Occaberry to lure a possible Flare Blitz, and then do a lot of damage or knock out the Talonflame based on its spread and HP. Now my other moves, Iron Head is just to flinch things. It doesn't really hit anything super effective besides the Tyranitar, but and Kyurem Black, I guess, which is cool. It checks both those things quite well, unless they're scarfed. Even then it checks Kyurem Black, because Earth Power is not going to do too much to me, even if I am naive nature. I just want to be able to flinch things. U-Turn is really cool because of momentum, and Grassmount, because I am mostly a special attacker, will do like 60% to a Mega Blastoise, which is going to be really nice, because Mega Blastoise is another thing that could come in expecting to check my Jirachi. This HP investment allows me, I believe, to live a... I'm not sure if I calc this right with the naive, so it could have been worthless, but it allowed me to live a modest 252 special attack Blastoise Dark Pulse, so I could just 2-hit KO it with full from Grassmount. It then ended up being a situation which I don't really foresee being a thing in the battle, but it's just nice to have. And the speed is speed, max speed, Jolly, naive Kyurem. Yeah, and it's just overall going to be a really good pivot and beneficial to my team. So next we have Nemesis, the Garchomp, with a Lumberry, mostly for to prevent a Toxic from the Clef Key or a Will-O-Wisp from the Talonflame, as this is another thing that does a good job of checking Talonflame. As you can see, I have a lot of things that do well versus Talonflame, but a bulkier Spadef Talonflame or even Fizdef Talonflame with Will-O-Wisp is a big threat still. So that's why I have to keep track and create multiple different sets that are good, especially against the Talonflame, but also in general useful for his team. So I have the Dragon Claw because it hits the Kyurem super effectively. I might use it against the Talonflame if I don't want to miss Rock Slide, because that's a thing. Rock Slide is there so that if I do get burned a second time for the Lumberry, I can hit it harder, and also just so I can O-code the Talonflame if he tries to set up on me or something like that. Earthquakes for general stab and hit things like the Klefki super effectively, and to hit the rest of his team for better damage than any of my other moves. That it is Garchomp's strongest stab move, bar Outrage, which I don't want to run when he has a pretty decent Fairy Switch and Klefki. And next I'm running obligatory Stealth Rocks because I want to be able to force him to spin his rocks away, possibly ensuring me to get a free kill on his Mega Blastoise, or pressure the Talonflame when it comes in so it's not a threat to the rest of my team. Next we have always the Togekiss with the Wakanberry, Thunder Wave, Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash, Roost. This is a very, very bulky Togekiss. It will allow me to live a variety of different attacks from Kyurem. From full Kyurem cannot OHKO me, besides like with, I think maybe Specs Ice Beam can, but even then I'm not sure if that can. I haven't done the calc for that, but I don't think it can. And then I'll be able to Thunder Wave it, I'll be able to Roost up on it, which will get rid of my flying typing, and the Wakanberry is to prevent Mixed Life Orb Kyurem from being able to OHKO me, as I will take about 45% from the Fusion Bolt with my Wakanberry, and I'll be able to Thunder Wave it or get off a Dazzling Gleam and kill it depending on the range that it's at, because I could be worried about a sub Kyurem, but I don't think he would sub on a Togekiss, because Air Slash would break the sub even uninvested, so it wouldn't be his best move, especially when it has multiple super effective moves to hit this and the rest of my team. This isn't really a switch in to the Kyurem, but Kyurem could come in on this after Togekiss kills something, and so it's set up to be able to handle that situation and neutralize the Kyurem as a threat to my team as quickly as possible. As well as doing with the Kyurem, it deals with Talonflame okay, as long as it's not a bulky Talonflame. If it's an offensive Talonflame, this can Thunder Wave it and help get some hits off of it. Not really my ideal switch in. But the main thing this is for is for the Mega Blastoise, as barring like I think modest 252 special attack Ice Beam, I can't be too KO'd. And again, I can Thunder Wave it. I'll be able to outspeed it depending on his spread, as long as he's not a very speedy Blastoise. I'll be able to outspeed it with the speed investment I have, predicting some of the speed creeping that he will do with that. And I'll be able to switch into Aura Spheres and Dark Pulses very easily, which are things that will threaten things like my Jirachi and my Snorlax, so that's why I have this thing. It's a really nice pivot into the Mega Blastoise, and it's something that can actually harm it back. Like, I could switch in my own Blastoise to it, but I wouldn't really be able to do anything back to it, so that's the main reason Togekiss is here, is because Mega Blastoise is really scary to my team, and it really helps me handle that. Next we have J-Gats, the Snorlax, with immunity so I can't be toxic, and a Lumberry, ensuring that this Lumberry will help with a Will-O-Wisp from the Talonflame, as that's something that I'm really scared of. And again, this is just another check to Talonflame. Rock Slide, Earthquake, Body Slam, Pursuit. Pursuit is so as things are switching out, I can get some chip damage on them and wear them down for the rest of my team, including the Talonflame if I think it's in a position, or the set, or it's a set that I think will switch out. But the biggest thing this is a switch in, my best switch in to Kyurem Black, as for a while I had Thick Fat on it, forgetting that Fusion Bolt, not Fusion Bolt, but that Terravolt was a thing, which would ignore my Thick Fat and allow him to hit me for a good amount of damage. But even then, with Snorlax's massive HP and special defense stat, Ice Beam really won't be doing that much to me, meaning he'll have to fit me with a physical move such as Dragon Claw or Fusion Bolt to deal me more damage, and for that I have Max Defense, as Max Defense gives me a lot more physically defensive bulk than just putting this in HP would. And this spread is to, I'm pretty sure, O-code a max HP Talonflame with Rock Slide. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the calc. But yeah, this is again just a really nice bulky thing. It's also a pretty good switch into Klefki, which is nice. That can actually harm it back well with Earthquake. Earthquake will easily 2-KO that thing, because Snorlax has a really nice attack stat, and I'm adamant. And so yeah, that's basically what this thing is for. Don't really have a lot else to say for it. It's just a nice bulky Mon that can do some good damage to his team, and really it's just to whittle things down for my Mega Pidgeot. This Mega Pidgeot, I foresee Mega Pidgeot most likely being my win condition, as I don't really have anything else that looks good in the late game for matchups, so yeah. Alright, next we have my Blastoise, which is Scald, Roar, Rapid Spin, Toxic. I want to be able to keep his rocks away so that my Togekiss and my Mega Pidgeot will be able to survive the rocks and have more longevity, especially the Mega Pidgeot, as it doesn't have Roost, and especially Togekiss, so it can take hits from Kyurem more safely. And for the Mega Blastoise, as a faster Mega Blastoise could then 2 KO me with 2 max special attack Scalds, I do believe, so that's important to keep away. Toxic to status things like the Talonflame, or even the whoa, I just messed that up big. Oh. Okay, so you guys might not have noticed that, but I just did the thing where I like flipped flipped the direction of where my screen, so things were upside down for me, and things are currently a little zoomed in right now. Let's see if I can fix that. Alright, there we go. But anyways, Discord's being annoying. Okay, but that's my team. Basically max defense. I don't know what happened with those EVs. They were most certainly in HP. I think I must have just taken those off on accident. But leftovers should get residual recovery. I can live like a Fusion Bolt from Kyurem Black, which is cool. I can take hits from Talonflame and get off a Toxic on it or roar it out. Hopefully he doesn't have Taunt. Thankfully, 4-move slot syndrome is a thing, so he can't run a Talonflame with like Bulk Up, Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, and Roost, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, because that would just 6-0 me. I can roar it out. Also, this is basically a free switch in for Kyurem, and I'm really kind of more nervous of a substitute Kyurem, as that could be really scary for my team, and being able to just roar it out so I don't have to worry about that is something that will be really nice. And then Rapid Spin to keep hazards away, like I was saying. Okay, sorry for all the Discord notifications. Anyways, that is it for my team. I will be hopping into the battle. Alright, so here we are in the battle. So looking just straight away at team preview, the one thing I am a little bit surprised is that he brought the Doug Trio instead of the Latios. However, it's not the most surprising considering he doesn't need it for the hazard removal because of Blastoise. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot. The Pursuit on Snorlax, part of that was for Latios, because it could be a little bit of an issue for my team if I couldn't manage to Thunder Wave it. But anyways, yes, so, yeah, but because he has Mega Blastoise to reliably spin hazards away, that's not the most surprising thing that he didn't bring it. So yeah, anyways, let's hop into this game. So I decided to lead off with my Snorlax, as it has a decent matchup against everything, but he leads off with Blastoise. I do not want this thing getting weakened, so I can safely switch it into the Kyurem Black, but he just fires off an Aura Sphere straight away, and I make the safe switch into my Togekiss, where I take that like it's nothing, just straight away. I'm pretty sure I just drop a T-Wave. I do, and I hit the Klefki with it. And right here, I just switch out into my Garchomp. Now here, he does get paralyzed, but he would have gone for Dazzling Gleam. We talked about it afterward. Besides the fact that that T-Wave is like kind of meant to paralyze people, it would have done a pretty good amount, probably about 45% to my Garchomp. I am very bulky, but as you'll see later, he gets some hacks that makes up for this exact thing entirely, so it really doesn't matter. So I go for my Stealth Rocks, just wanting to be able to pressure his threats like Kyurem Black and Talonflame right away. But he goes to Mega Blastoise, and I just go straight back into my Togekiss. And he doesn't Rapid Spin, he just goes straight for the Water Pulse. Thankfully, I don't get confused, but I just roost up as he goes for the Ice Beam. That does pretty much nothing. From right here, I just want to get some damage off on him, so I go for the Air Slash, where I get a crit and a flinch, which is a little bit unfortunate, as it kind of does continue the train of hacks that has been happening. But I feel bad for the crit, not the flinch. It's in my favor to flinch. It's a Togekiss. It's going to do what it's going to do. Cheese has had Togekiss in past seasons. He knows how it is. He also knows how it is to be hexed by me, as I did that to him pretty bad when we played in Season 2. But anyways, got the flinch there. That's pretty cool. I'm feeling pretty good at this position. Right here, I do predict him to go into Klefki, but I just make the safe play and go for a... and go for another air slash, which misses. It really doesn't matter because it would have done like 5% anyway. And now that I don't need to talk anymore, yeah. But I'm just going to go straight into my Snorlax here because I don't want to risk the Dazzling Gleam on Garchomp as he gets it off that time. Glad I made that play. Now right here, he Thunder Waves me. The Lumberry activates. I'm kind of upset by this because I was really scared of a Will-O-Wisp from the Talonflame, so that would have made it... that makes Talonflame a lot bigger of a threat, but I do get a lot of damage off with this Earthquake from my Snorlax. And now right here, I EQ the Blastoise, it does 25%. And now I'm in a position where he has to choose between either getting big damage off of my Snorlax or getting his rocks away. So I'm going to stay in because I'm just going to leave that up to him. That's his choice. If he wants to get rocks away, his Blastoise is dead, and I can try to get them up later with Garchomp. And if he spins them, if he attacks me, he gets damage on this, but rocks are there to stay, which is probably what I'd prefer, but he does spin them away, which I think is his better play, and lets his Blastoise go down. So we're up 5-6, and he no longer has a spinner, so maybe we can get those rocks back up. Now he brings in Kyurem, and I'm more than okay with this. If I can just get a lot of damage on this, he predicts me, first of all, he predicts me right here to go into my Jirachi, which I'm not going to do because I really just want to get damage off on this thing. Unfortunately, I don't get the para, but he goes for the Dragon Claw here, and it does pretty good damage. He'll be able to kill me from that range. I get a crit, which sucks again for him, except I don't believe that the damage... Actually, yeah, it probably... I mean, it's not going to end up mattering at all. Whoa, I just skipped turns. So yeah, he kills me with the Dragon Claw. The crit is not going to be the hugest of a deal. You're going to see how that works out later on, actually. It really is not going to matter at all. But right here, I'm just going to go to my Garchomp, threaten this thing out, and I make the play and go for an Earthquake here, predicting his Klefki to come in on the obvious Dragon Claw. Either predicting him to go out and just Talonflame. He could have just been sacking his Klefki there too. It's really all he would have been able to do is maybe get up a spike. He wouldn't have been able to attack me because of the paralysis. So actually, in that case, rocks might have been my better play. But that would have been risky if he did stay in. But anyway, he goes into his Talonflame, gets a good amount of damage off of my Garchomp, takes Recoil, takes the Rough Skin. I go for the Rock Slide, and I knew before I hit that button that I was going to miss that. Sometimes you're just playing and you get that inkling. It's like, I'm going to miss that move, and I knew I was going to miss that move, so I missed that move. This is the moment of hacks I was talking about, as that damage is about the damage that a Dazzling Gleam would have done from an unvested Klefki onto my Garchomp. So because of that Rock Slide miss, I'm going to say that that para specifically didn't matter. Not that there's some of that other hacks like that flinch and those two crits that did come out in my favor. I'm not going to say it's hacks-less, but, you know, it is what it is, and in this case, the para did kind of balance out, in my opinion. So, he's going to go for another Brave Bird. It's going to put me down really low. He's going to take more recoil, and I didn't want to risk him roosting or anything, so I just go for the... if I'm going for Dragon Claw, I get another crit with my Rock Slide, but that one definitely did not matter. So yeah, he's going to send in his Dugtrio and just trap me in and knock out my Garchomp. Good play on his part, not allowing me to get my rocks up at all. That's the one reason I'm not, totally sure I agree with that. That play. But actually, okay, so a couple things. First of all, that makes his Talonflame play make a lot more sense, because going into Talonflame on my Garchomp, even though that doesn't necessarily seem like the most intuitive thing, he knows that if he went to anything else, I would have just gotten my rocks up. So that makes a lot of sense. He didn't really have anything else to really punish it, besides punish my Garchomp, besides his Kyurem at that point, but I outsped his Kyurem. So that wouldn't have worked out in his favor. So yeah, but we're still up 4-3 at this point, and I'm really feeling pretty good about this. But he brings in his Dugtrio, he takes that out, and now right here, I bring in my Blastoise, but Blastoise really doesn't have a good matchup versus the rest of his team. And right here, I just go straight for the Scald, which I really should have just gone for the Roar, because I knew this was going to come in, and at this point, in my head, I knew I could not switch into this thing, so I just roar it out. I just want to get rid of it, yeah, because it's going to be annoying to me. Now right here, I'm really scared, because if this is a Dragon Dance Tyranitar, I could be in huge trouble. I could just lose to a DDT-tar here. But I decide that if it is a DDT-tar, my best play probably is to War, but I really didn't think it was, based on the matchup. Yeah, the reason I could be in trouble too is because my Pidgeot outspeeds it and will basically kill it after a Scald with Hidden Power Fighting if it was Mega'd, but it's not Mega'd yet. So that could have caused DDT Tar really could have caused a big problem. But thankfully he goes for Crunch, and really should have roared there. Roaring was my better play, but I do click Scald, and it ends up working out for me. Because he knocks me into torrent range with the Crunch, I'm able to get a pretty sizable chunk off on Tyranitar, despite Ned being pretty weak as a Pokemon. But he takes me out with the Crunch, and at this point, not seeing an item and seeing how much that actually did, I'm really thinking that this thing is Scarf at this point. So I'm going to go straight into my Togekiss and just fire off a Dazzling Gleam as he switches into his Dugtrio, and the Dazzling Gleam from this Togekiss is going to straight bring it down to its sash. With the crit that I get, it's really not going to matter because the Dugtrio is weak anyway. So that happens. I take sand damage. He puts up a Stealth Rocks here, play that I'm not sure I completely agree with, but I just roost up and give up to pretty much full health, because after I saw his Sash, I wasn't too scared of a Rock move hitting me, and I go for another Dazzling Gleam, but he just survives that at 7%. And so, looking at this, oh, you see that I switch out, but, so, looking at this, I'm for sure at this point that this thing is Scarf, because if it wasn't Scarf, my Togekiss would be able to outspeed it with the speed investment I have. I don't know if I could outspeed Max Speed Jolly, pretty sure I couldn't, but you're not really going to bring Max Speed Jolly unless you are Scarf. So Scarf Cheetor is looking pretty threatening at this point, and I know at this point he's going to lock himself into Stone Edge because my Togekiss is in, and it's his only way of really killing it, because, I mean, even if he doesn't know that because of Kyurem, I know that it's his only way of killing it. So I'm going to switch out into my Jirachi. And now, if he does click Crunch here, I'd be able to go into my Mega Pidgeot, live the Crunch, and clean up the rest of his team. I actually would have died to Sand, I think, but from there, Togekiss could have dealt with the last two Mons because of the Wakan Berry, I do believe. It would have taken a little bit of work, like roosting and probably paralyzing the Kyurem Black, but in the end, I really do think it would have ended up in my favor had he crunched here, but he doesn't crunch here. He Stone Edges, which as I predicted, as I go into this, and now right here again, I'm in another tricky point. I can't just Iron Head here because it will just let his T-Tar come back in and threaten something out, or it'll let his Dugtrio come in. Actually, no, that's what I'll do. If I Iron Head here, and as he goes into Kyurem as I predict him to, I can lose the game, because what he'll be able to do is go into his Dugtrio, trap my Jirachi, and then clean up the game with Scarf Stone Edge on Tyranitar. Pretty confident because, well, it'd have been close because, actually, let me pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, actually, I just did the calc that I should have done in the game, but I made the better play anyway. I made my best possible play here, with Jirachi, which was going for U-turn, but if I did Iron Head and get trapped, Mega Pidgeot after Stealth Rocks could actually live a Stone Edge from the Dugtrio. Maybe not a Stone Edge plus Sand, which actually, let me do another calc. Yeah, actually, depending on that roll with the Dugtrio Stone Edge, I could have been in a really bad position, but that's all theory mining about if I had made a bad play, which I don't make. I go for the U-turn here, which actually won't knock out the Kyurem Black because of my minimal attack investment, which will allow me to go into my Mega Pidgeot. I'll be able to Mega up, outspeed the rest of his team, and clean up with Hurricane, so we can just put this on fast now. I'm really happy with how I played this game. Being able to foresee that in-game situation and go for the U-turn with Jirachi was really something that, you can see he goes for the Sucker Punch there, which doesn't really do a lot. Mega Pidgeot actually has very nice natural bulk. But I was really impressed with my own ability. I'm not trying to sound like, arrogant at all, but like my own ability to foresee my best way to win that game, which was I was thinking the easiest way for me to win this game with the highest differential is for me to Mega up my Mega Pidgeot on his Kyurem Black, and so I had to force myself to manipulate the game into that point where I can win, which was a very hard thing to do, and that U-turn play was crucial in that happening, and basically led to my victory. Yes, there were some hacks. As you can see, I got a 4th crit on that last Hidden Power Fighting. 2 of my crits kind of mattered. Well, the one on the Kyurem actually really didn't matter at all, because if that Kyurem had 15% more health at the end, game would not have changed at all. Crit actually could have helped him. The crit would have helped him if my Jirachi was max attack and my U-turn had been able to knock out the Kyurem after the crit. It could have put him in a position to win the game, but it didn't, thankfully. And there we are. We're able to take Week 1 3-0 versus Cheeseboy628 and the Phoenix Sunkern. He's a really cool guy, so make sure you go and check out his links in the description below. Follow him on Twitter. He doesn't post that much on Twitter, but go follow him anyway. When he does post, it's always entertaining. And it'll make sure you get updates on his videos and whatnot. And make sure you go check out his YouTube. He has quite a few subscribers and puts out some really good quality content. And if you actually look back for a while, you can see a rap video about Zygarde, which is pretty epic. So yeah, make sure you go check him out. But anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my return and triumphant return to the NPL. And I'm Togevoir, you're yourself. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.